Hello, everyone. Today we celebrate 100 days in office. Mahalo for giving me this great opportunity. Mahalo for your trust. And thank you on behalf of Jamie, myself, Maya, and Sam. We've really embraced the state. You've given us so much love and support. That's how we do the job for the people. So thank you for all of this. Now, today I'm going to unpack some of the things we've done in the first 100 days. It's been 2,000 hours. It's been lots and lots of work, but everything I share today is meant to show you how our values inform what we do and how we take care of this job, the governorship. So, Huliau. It's a new beginning. That's what we believe is happening here in Hawaii. So here are some of the things that I promised to do and that we're doing as we speak. As governor-elect, I focused on 5 things. That we'd have an emergency proclamation to deal with homelessness and housing. We'd initiate the Kauhale initiatives. We'd restore faith in government, which we've begun to do already by being more transparent. I've asked our Attorney General to make sure people can find out whatever they need to find out about government in real time. We're doing those kind of things because we believe people deserve that kind of leadership. We also have decidedly focused on the environment and climate change. You notice we announced $100 million right off the bat to set aside for the impact of climate change to make sure our parks and our beaches and really all of the sea level concerns we have are taken care of. And finally, increased affordability because it's so difficult to afford living in Hawaii. It's a challenge for those families who just don't make enough money to pay their rent, to pay for food. So that's why we propose the largest tax decrease, tax rebates for families ever in the state of Hawaii, $315 million a year for families who are struggling. So let me go through some of these things. In 100 days, what did we do? We announced that we'd release the grants and aid. Those are grants that go to organizations that have great need. We do this because we care about people, and people are struggling out there either with homelessness or with hunger. Some of those grants, which amount to, like I said, $50 million, go to places like the Hawaii Food Bank, Goodwill Hawaii, across the state and other programs, IHS, which cares for those who are really in deep trouble. That was something we did immediately because it was long overdue. Another thing we did is we dealt with a crisis, which was the life flight crisis. A plane crashed, took 3 people that we cared about and loved that served our state so proudly. And then we had to find out a way to get people care from the neighbor islands. So what did we do? We immediately got together within the hour and we empowered the National Guard and the Coast Guard to do some of the transport to save people's lives when they have to come from the neighbor island hospitals to Oahu. That was something we took action on immediately, and we've just increased reimbursements also for that industry so that they can stay and serve Hawaii. Very important for all of our kupuna. Another priority was streamlined housing. And as you know, it's very difficult to build housing and to find housing in the state of Hawaii. So on the floor of the legislature, when I gave the State of the State speech, I signed an emergency proclamation just to show you in broad daylight what we would do. That will help us build Kauhale, the tiny home villages. It will also make sure that we respect our kupuna iwi. It will make sure that we don't go around any rules that are necessary to protect our environment, but it will cut through the red tape to make sure we can build housing. You'll see a lot more of that in May, but that's something that was long overdue. The Kauhale program itself will be more than 12 villages, could be many more, with the leadership of James and Nani, who are on our team, also led by Brooke, who is our kind of team captain, if you will. We put this team together because we wanted to make sure we had the right values for our state. So Kauhale, tiny villages, to get those who are struggling on the streets out of that condition so that they don't have to go to the hospital, they don't have to God forbid, die in their sleep on the streets. So this is the value of our organization. We prioritize our ohana, basically. No matter how sick they may be or how much they're struggling, we know that we have to be there for them. And that's why that's a priority. Restoring trust in government. A lot of people lost faith in government over the last few years when there were scandals. So I asked our Attorney General just to make sure that we work with the media, we work with anybody who's covering government or who has an interest in government to get information to people. That's going to be made much more easy under our administration. I think that's pretty important. But more important than anything else probably is our climate agenda. $100 million immediately to protect our environment, which will now be matched, it appears, by another $100 million from the National Science Foundation to deal with food security. So when you take bold action, you get bold returns, and that's what we're seeing already. Also, we'll have the climate impact fee in some form from the legislature, which we proposed. That will be fees from travelers that come to Hawaii when they go to kind of high-utilized places. They'll pay a fee. It'll go into these funds to protect our environment and make it easier for us to live in Hawaii. Probably the most important thing, though, is this green affordability plan. We call it GAP. Every person in our state under about $120,000 should see a full extra paycheck worth of money to go towards their cost of living. Gas prices are high, food prices are high, rent is high. Until we can build enough housing, rents are going to stay pretty high. So that's why we're doubling down on this issue. We have to make things more affordable. The legislature has taken up our $350 million tax package, and I think it's going to go a long way to make it easier to live in Hawaii. I was honored to go be with the president. Jamie and I were there in February. We met with leadership from all across the country, and they embraced our Hawaii family. They embraced us because they know we care deeply about people, not in a partisan way, but in a human way. And so it was really wonderful to see them and to build new bridges. Things on the horizon. The tourism contract. We're fixing tourism the best we can, so there'll be much more focus on the impacts of tourism, how we manage it. So that's what the contract reflects, that plus marketing. We made sure that that was an improvement. We solved that problem. The Aloha Stadium is coming. We have $350 million that have been authorized to build the stadium, another $49.5 million to demolition the old one, and basically get this thing moving. So our team has already committed itself to that pathway. We're protecting women's rights, women's reproductive rights especially. You'll see me sign a bill in about 10 days. It's going to be an amazing moment for the women of Hawaii and everyone who believes that we should treat women with great respect. And then finally, Red Hill. The water contamination there was unacceptable, so I've created a governor's task force to make sure we have oversight, and I can go to a whiteboard and give you the information just like I did with COVID. All of these things are meant to be a reflection of who I am as your governor, as your friend, as your family member. That's who Jamie and I want to be for the state of Hawaii, and that's who we will be because you've allowed me to serve. So again, it's been an extraordinary 100 days. I've given 50 talks in the community already. We have had dozens of opportunities to be with all sorts of people at Washington Place, but we welcome everyone into our ohana of government because we think we can do great things together. Again, thank you for this opportunity of a lifetime. I'll never forget it. Aloha.